One of the most common questions I get from emerging founders, though, is finding their franchise partners, especially the first 10, as you probably remember what it was like when you first started out. Where did you find your first dozen?
We work with so in the beginning with ShelfGenie, I was a dealer program before I franchised. So we were a dealer model where we teach you how to, sell a little bit, how to install a little bit. It was 3 days of training. We didn't give you any support after that. Otherwise, you're an external franchise. But a dealer model is really just like throwing spaghetti against the wall. You just have to keep doing it. Some things stick, but no buy-in. People just kind of come and go. But there was five of my dealers that were kind of doing it full time and doing it pretty well. So I started day one with five franchise partners, which is great because we had validation. It's not so great because they weren't, none of them made it over the next 5 years. And, they didn't fail, but they kind of dropped out or sold because they didn't fit with the system and they weren't those empire builders. But we had 10 pretty good ones and good validation. We always had good validation, but the other problem was if you don't have the right people, your validation might be good, you might be able to sell, but what you're selling is your validation. So what people hear when they're validating, this is my day in the life, these are the things I'm doing. Our system didn't validate half the things that they should be doing. So we're intentionally bringing people on now that buy into it, that are doing those things. We're holding them accountable from the beginning, and holding franchise partners accountable is really as simple as getting alignment
Mhm.
and agreement on who's supposed to do what. So it's not parental, it's an agreement between adults to say, this is what's going to make us successful. This is what we're responsible for. This is what you're responsible for. And then, holding them accountable is just reminding them that this is where you need to focus and your priorities are, because this is what's going to get you there. But our system validates already that this is what's important. This is what we're doing. So I think getting the right ones is not just about validation. I think that's what we think about a lot is 10 people that go, this is great. But if it's the wrong 10 people, you're going to bring in more people that look like them than look like the ones you want. And that's the other challenge that I tell our franchise partners is call me during validation. If you see a yellow flag and certainly a red flag, let me know. I will and have turned down franchise partners. We truly do award. When you're dealing with franchise consultants, that's always a really tough conversation, and a lot of them are done with the different consulting networks. But we try to identify that really early up front. So I work a lot with our sales development team. We use Rep'em.
Yeah.
So of outsourced franchise sales, which I highly recommend you do as an emerging. I think emerging franchises are either franchisors are good at either selling them or supporting them.
Okay.
It's really hard to do both in the beginning, especially. So we've chose support is the thing we're going to do really well,
All right.
the selling. But I work with our team and we're very aligned on, not bringing that person to discovery day
Mhm.
that I'm going to have to turn down. And that's why I'm doing a lot of founders calls early up front. But our franchise partners are dialed into this is what we're looking for. And we don't want anyone coming in that's not a good fit for them because that's not good for anybody.
Yeah. Well, okay. First of all, you said something that I cannot be overstated, and that is either being really good at franchise sales or support, but you better be really good at support, right? So, look, there's founders out there that have these emerging franchise concepts that are growing by leaps and bounds by the amount of franchises they've quote unquote sold and are unopened because of how amazing the FSO is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know there are some out there that do not have the support and they don't
Yeah.
have the infrastructure. So let's talk about that, since there's so many emerging founders listening to this, on the importance of having your ducks in a row
Yeah.
before you unleash an FSO to selling franchises.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it there's good FSOs and there's not good FSOs. Now,
Uh-huh.
when I started franchising 2008, the FSO model was really rent a franchise developer.
Yes.
It was rent a cop, rent a mall cop. So, I got my guy, and that's really the support I got was here's your guy. And he knows how to sell franchises, and that was it. So, that's when St. Gregory came along and Jeff Hurd did a really good job innovating that whole space where there's multiple people. You've got the person that sets up the appointment for the director, you've got the director, you got the VP that interviews them afterwards. You've got this whole team doing the marketing and setting up discovery days. That's been evolved, and Jeff's doing it again and continues to evolve. But Rep'em, in fact, Nick worked with St. Gregory on that, so he's taken it, done some things with it. But that model has evolved, and really where it's evolved to now is they support emerging franchises in every single area. So, I know Rep 'em, they call it Build 'em, and there's Brand 'em, and there's Grow 'em, which is the franchise sales piece, but they do full service support wherever you need it. So with us, it's really on the franchise sales because we've done it. But the building piece, opening up and finding these locations, but that's where, if you've got a franchise, an FSO that can't help you with all those things and identify those gaps and fill it in, and they're just running and gunning and trying to, overload you, and they know you don't have the capacity, they're out there, they'll do it. But the good ones, and if you talk to the founders that are working with them and do your due diligence, because it's almost like buying a franchise. It's a long-term relationship
Sure.
when you sign up with an FSO, and they need to be doing the same things that our franchise partners expect from us, which is best practice sharing, really partnering with you on and having alignment at the end is really critical. So pick one, but pick the right one. I talked to 8 of them, which is almost really all of them. And I've known them all, and it took me almost a year. I think when I got down to the final line with Rep 'em, they were exhausted. Nick and Rob and I have talked, quite a bit about all the details, and including all the details of how they're going to support us and what they could do. But that's a really critical partner, and if you get it wrong, you're going to regret it.
Sure. So obviously bringing prospects in that are validating. And I wrote a term down that you mentioned a couple times that I want to bring back here: empire builders. So your top tier franchise owners, franchise partners, those are the empire builders, right? What specifically do those empire builders look like that are different, that top 20%?
When we have discovery days, and even when I'm doing founders call, I'm evaluating them not by what they're saying, because the B players and C players are really good at interviewing because they've done a lot. People, and when they're in a buying mode, they're saying all the right things.
Right.
Listening very carefully to the questions they're asking. Are they thoughtful? Are they thinking big with their questions? Are they asking a question about something that really doesn't matter? And the other thing that we have going for us is, with Art of Drawers, we upgraded the brand significantly. We added better products. We, our process is better. We've just built this, Lexus to the Toyota, and ShelfGenie is the Toyota. But by the way, Toyota is great. It wasn't a Toyota really until Lexus came along.
True.
So I'm not putting down ShelfGenie at all. It's a great brand. And we need more ShelfGenies out there. We need more Art of Drawers out there. The reason our industry doesn't exist, we're about $100 million industry, and that's mostly ShelfGenie, some Art of Drawers, and some guys in trucks. That's our industry. The closet industry, which same model, same average sales, same unit economics, and same demographic. We actually pick up some older people that never would update their closets, but they need the access. But same demographic. You want to take a guess at how big the closet industry is?
I have no idea, but considering California closet's been around a bit, I'm sure it's pretty big. What do you got?
The closet industry is 60 billion, and we're 100 million. And we have same demographic, same unit economics, all that going for us. And the reason we're not growing, and the reason ShelfGenie is only the company that's ever scaled it, is this software we built. Because our barrier to entry, closet companies would love to do what we do, but they're putting up 2mm walls and 24 inches apart and putting standard stuff in it.
Right.
We're going to your cabinets and measuring down to the millimeter, width, depth, height, slope, scoops with wood. And it's very precise, and we almost have infinite SKUs because everything we do is custom built. So our software handles that. We can price accurately in the home and stick the landing on cost of goods plus or minus a couple percent. We can fulfill that order. We integrate with our manufacturing partners, taking all the complexity out of it with technology. And that's really, I think, going back to the question you asked before, people and technology is what you need to be focused on if you're going to grow your business. If you are not a technology company that happens to do whatever thing your business does, you're not going to make it long term.
Wow.
Recession or not, you're just not going to make it.
Sure.
So we're a technology company, and we're taking that technology. Our franchise partners are really excited about this. They're going to grow their Art of Drawers core business. We've added refacing, which is, a $10,000, $15,000 average sale. We've added that to the mix. So we've done a lot of things with the brand that they can do in their core business. But once they get that going, and this kind of speaks to Empire Builder, they built their design team. There's things they can do to it. And instead of going out and getting, either laying on the beach or getting another brand to add on, they can go out and license this software to closet companies, countertop companies, refacers, lots of different verticals, but just the closet industry itself. They can't do what we do, but they love to come out and design your closet and do what we do. So our vision is for our franchise partners, and this is what they're excited about, is building an industry, which means building competitors. It's a totally different mindset. If you talk to, at least when I was there, ShelfGenie franchisees, they heard the word competitor, and all of a sudden, their eyes would, light up, and they, every part of their brain was activated in a flight or fight response because they came into it going, hey, this is great. There's no competitors in this space other than some guys in trucks. That's the problem, by the way. We pay, our item 19 says $475 for 2022. Our new one's coming out with a different number. But, if you look at $475 is what we pay on average to get in someone's home. Closet companies pay between $50 and $100 to get in someone's home because there's so many people doing it. That's the power. Industries are great, and industry is nothing in a collection of competitors. And not being an industry, we're paying a lot to educate people on the fact that you can even do this. When Art of Drawers goes into a market, ShelfGenie does better. We all do better. The more people we have doing it, the better. That's how the closet industry is $60 billion and why they're paying less than $100 to get in the home.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.